When people mention about Romeo and Juliet by Shakespeare, they usually think about two teenagers met and they fall in love and they die at the end. But I don't think the story is like all about two teenagers falling in love. I think the adults who raised them are just as important. Like Juliet's mother and her nurse, Lady Capulet and the nurse, do not fight or sneak out. But they do change Juliet's choices. For me, as I read the book, Lady Capulet actually shows like a cold kind of love. She doesn't know how to express her love, like she won't say I love you. And it's actually more about the family honor and the rules. And at the same time, the nurse shows like a warm kind of love, like a mother, like a real mother. She will support you and everything. And then actually looking at them, I think a lot of you would ask what is actually real love and who shows it the best. So right now I'm gonna analyze this book and we'll see the answer. So for me, as I said, Lady Capulet shows a cooler way of love and more about family honor, and while the nurse is warmer, motherly of kind of love. And I think Shakespeare uses them to show that love could be straight or kind, and that how it changed Juliet's Caesar choices, like her life choices, like should she marry Paris and something like that. Well, for me, I think the difference between Lady Capulet and the nurse shows that love could be straight or kind. In Act 1, Scene 3, I remember the nurse says, "Thou was the prettiest babe I've ever nursed." So Shakespeare uses hyperbole to show the nurse's pride and affection. And while Lady Capulet in Act 3, Scene 5, she said, "Talk not to me, for I'll not speak word. Do as I will, for that I have done with thee." Which shows that she has a very cold tone and rejection to Juliet. She literally told Juliet not to talk to her. So to me, the scene actually shows to me that the nurse acts more like a real mom, and while Lady Capulet acts more like a parent who only cares about the rules, like a straight mom. And I actually think Shakespeare probably wants the audience to see how the comparison and how Juliet is pulled between two kinds of love, and that makes her be in a dilemma, and like one feels safe and one feels strict. And I think Juliet also think that she has a responsibility for the family honor, because that's how the Shakespeare time works, like when they're in the Shakespeare time. Also, I think Lady Capulet and the nurse also show love in conflicting ways when Julia's facing the marriage with Paris. I remember in Act 1, Scene 3, Lady Capulet read over the volume of young Paris' face and find the light right there with Beauty's pen. Shakespeare uses a metaphor to compare Paris with a book. And the nurse says in Act 3, Scene 5, "Romeo's a dish clout to him." Shakespeare also uses hyperbole to insult Romeo, like Paris is here and Romeo is there, because Romeo is not as rich as Paris, and also Romeo does not has the bigger power as Paris does. So in that time, they want a richer husband because that's how it's supposed to be. And I feel like Lady Capulet's love is more about, like, as I said, family honor and actually social gain. So she would think if Juliet married to Paris, their family reputation would be better. And while the nurse's love becomes like a practical, and she actually betrays Juliet because she insulted Romeo. So that means her love is not that loyal to Juliet, and then it actually betrays her trust. And in Shakespeare time, as I said, people cared a lot about social rank, so Lady Capulet's words would actually make sense to them. But for us now in 2025, it feels actually very harsh because we are taught that a mother should care about the feelings first. And I think Shakespeare shows how society can shape love and how different it can be, and how Julius feels trapped between her duty and her heart. Like, she want to follow her heart, but she got the responsibility there to, like, make the family reputation be better. So, as I see, Lady Capulet and the nurse, they both love Juliet a lot, but they actually just show it in different ways. Shakespeare shows that love can take many forms, and audience today may value nurses' care more, but while audience in Shakespeare time may think Lady Capulet's straightness is like actually more valid. For me, I think Romeo and Juliet shows that love is never simple. Sometimes love can be care and comfort, but sometimes it could also be rules and control. And when I finish the book, I feel like Julia's story is a warning about how hard it is when adults don't listen to young people. It happens to me too, and I also think we might ask, like, what kind of love do we value more today? But obviously, for me, I would rather have the nurse kind of love, because I would love a mother who supports me whenever, even I make mistakes. So it feels very human and real. Thank you so much.